Gym spots a dog on camera. An unexpected turn of events. A man heading home from the gym spots a dog running and follows him. Footage posted on Only in Dade shows Blake Lazarus pulling up to the seawall when the pup leaps into the water. You'll see it here. Take a look at that. This happened on Biscayne Boulevard and 32nd Street. Blake is currently recovering from injuries on his arm from a previous incident, but despite that challenge, he jumped right in to save that dog.
I saw him jump, but I didn't really.
Okay. There's a lot going on here. Now, my apologies. I am 15 minutes late. I got caught up in some stuff. And on this live stream, I'm just going to deal with a bunch of random, crazy news and remind everyone why these things should be despised, they should be unwanted, and why governments should work together to drive them into extinction. Okay, this should be done deliberately. Now, humans have driven several animal species into extinction. Animals have driven, and dogs, especially dogs, have driven several animal species into extinction. Animal species going into extinction is natural. So it's not immoral to do it manually. We are already doing it manually, just not euthanizing all of them. It's real simple and humane. We can humanely drive them into extinction, just like you humanely euthanize them. Humanely euthanize all of them.
Really think about it.
Why did that dog jump into the water? Doesn't that seem like a worthless organism? Is that smart? Is that intelligent? Like, how many cats do you see just jumping into the water? Or any other? How many birds do you see flying into the water, someplace where it clearly doesn't belong, where it was not designed to navigate? What other animal does this? It's only dogs, because they're the only ones that are mutants.
On his arm from a previous incident, but despite that challenge, he jumped right in to save that dog.
Okay, do birds do this? They fly right into the water just cuz? Because if they did that, I would imagine something would be wrong with them.
I saw him jump, but I didn't really think about it. It's getting better.
Yeah. You didn't think about it. You were just under the system, under the spell of nuttery. I understand.
A little more mobility, but I was just, nursing it a little bit when I was in the water and kind of just grabbed him with my right arm, just kicking. And then I was able to get up like kind of on a rock and hand him to the officer with my right arm. And then they pulled me out. They were going to throw a rope down, and they kind of grabbed my arm and pulled me out of the water.
So brave. After the rescue, he...
Oh, silly. He could have died. Yeah? Anything could have happened. You jumping in the water for a worthless mutt. No.
Posted what happened on social media, not realizing someone else had captured his heroic actions from above. A mutual friend saw both videos and put two and two together. The dog had a...
That dumb mutt jump in the water. Maybe it wanted to be in the water. It started swimming, didn't it? Maybe that's where it wanted to be. Without having any plan on how to get out the water, who cares? We have the freedom to do stuff like that. Why shouldn't dogs? Not going to rescue no mutt.
Caller with his owner's information on it. Blake contacted that owner and they picked up their soggy pup. So thankful that dog is...
Ran away from its owner because they're not loyal. Okay? They're dumb, worthless, disloyal. Why you always calling them loyal? That are only so-called pets that do this. They run away from y'all all the time. And that's why y'all go on and on about how loyal they are. Now, like I said, I'm going to deal with a few stories here. Okay. And I'm going to be very busy over the next few days. Apparently, a dog is being treated after biting a rabid raccoon. Now, this was just published, just like this man jumping in the water. This was published, it surfaced 7 hours ago. And this one, just a few hours ago as well. A dog is being treated after biting a rabid raccoon. Okay. Stop it. Stop it. Dogs are the only creatures on this planet known for spreading rabies. Okay, that dog probably had rabies beforehand. Okay, maybe the dog gave it to the raccoon. And if the raccoon had rabies, it most likely acquired it, got it from a dog. It has been attacked by a dog in the past. Let's not play dumb. Okay? I just want to review dog behavior, dogs in the news, like it should be reviewed. Not hiding their dysfunctional behavior, downplaying it, and talking about, being delusional, saying that they are a bunch of positive things that they are not. Some of you might have noticed recently I shared a number of videos from a YouTuber named K Nunn. K Nunn puts out a lot of videos. And recently, K Nunn dropped a short video. I think these videos are important. They're important, educational, because a lot of information is squeezed into a very short video, which is very good for this modern era, this TikTok era. They'll be able to go there, spend 5 minutes and have a whole wealth of things to unpack, to sort of rethink, re-examine. Here recently, I shared a few, and I'm going to share some on this video. I want to first deal with, because this is important, these nutters. I shared this video here about 15 minutes after K Nunn produced it. And this is very important, because in almost every dog attack report, they push this idea that the dog, its predatory instincts, its desire for bloodshed, they always push that as if it's not a part of the dog's nature, as if it had nothing to do with the attack itself. Yes, it does.
No, back.
The dog training sphere has this idea that prey drive is this thing that needs to be corrected or trained out. Prey drive is something that is very fundamental to a dog. It's what makes a dog a dog. It's a genetic basis. It's what makes a species a species. We need to get out of this idea that prey drive is good or bad.
Prey drive is what causes dogs to attack humans, which is often infants and small children. This is not a neutral or innocuous behavior.
Not just often infants and small children. In most areas, half the time. 50% of the time.
Dogs' prey drive is the reason many dogs will chase joggers and cyclists. Dogs will do this on instinct because it is hardwired into them. They do not think about why they are chasing things in motion, they just do it. Humans do not have this drive.
Exactly. And when they get up to them, they always attack them. Right? When they do that, they don't run up to whatever it's chasing and start licking it. No, it's an attack.
This is also the same drive mountain lions and bears have. Anyone who knows anything about dogs will tell you that running or cycling away from a...
And keep in mind, those other lions and natural predators, their prey drive is much more natural. It's natural, period, compared to dogs. Dogs chase, attack, kill, don't eat. You ain't gonna find natural animals doing that unless it's protection. Okay, protecting their young. So even in this case, there's a huge difference between dogs and natural predators.
Mountain lions and bears have. Anyone who knows anything about dogs will tell you that running or cycling away from aggressive dogs on streets and roads, or anywhere dogs happen to be, will only activate their prey drive, whether there is only a single dog or multiple dogs. We don't need to be told this, however, as many of us have experienced it firsthand.
And she sat up there and said that they should not even try to train this out of them, as if this is a good thing. That they try to chase anything that moves and attack them.
The following Reddit post highlights a glaring contradiction within the dog world.
The duality of sweet, innocent angels who wouldn't harm a fly and don't run from them, it activates their prey drive, is painfully contradictory. Pretty sure true angels wouldn't see running, scared people as prey.
The following is from a law firm's website. It cites a study which shows that dogs bite anxious people.
If a person becomes nervous around a dog, they can begin to move in a way the dog considers strange. Nervous people sweat and release cortisol and adrenaline, scents dogs can distinguish as signs of fear. All of these factors can cause a dog to become aggressive and bite.
Notice also that if you are bitten by a police or military dog,
Before we go there, let me point out, they talk about how much these things are angels, but yet they want to attack people once those people prove to be afraid of it. So once the dog senses that you don't want to harm it, that you mean no harm, that you're not a threat, and that you're actually afraid, that makes it want to attack you.
Factors can cause a dog to become aggressive and bite.
Notice also that if you are bitten by a police or military dog, even if you did not provoke the dog, you are pretty much screwed. I guess the same applies in wide open areas where property lines are not always visible. Or if you happen to be running for your life from something, say a loose dog, and you hop a fence to cut through a yard and get away from the bloody thing, but then there is another dog on that property, then it's your fault for trespassing, even if the circumstances behind it were that you were under duress. Now,
y'all understand that? You could be chased by a dog. You gotta run. You could run on somebody else's property. And that property could own a dog, and it could attack you. And nothing will be done to that dog or the owner that attacked you because you are on that property. Crazy. Need to be changed ASAP.
here's what's astonishing. This exact same website also states that exceptions to taking legal action, at least in California, if bitten by a dog, include, and I quote, if you provoked or harassed the dog. But for heaven's sake, a dog does not need to be provoked to attack, and no one is going around harassing dogs. More importantly, the same website admitted that dogs will attack people simply because they are fearful. In what world is being fearful a justification to get attacked? I've said this before, but if humans acted like dogs, we would rightly recognize them as bullies and violent assholes who need to be dealt with. This reality is also in stark contrast to the notion that dogs are loving and compassionate. Why would a loving entity attack someone who is afraid of them? You heard what she said at the beginning, didn't you, nutters? Prey drive is fundamental to a dog, and there is a genetic basis for it.
Prey drive is something that is very fundamental to a dog. It's what makes a dog a dog. It's a genetic basis.
Unfortunately, however, this website lists the same commonly cited
Wow! This perfectly safe family friendly pet, so-called pet. What makes it what it is the fact that it has a desire to attack and kill for no reason at all, other than to establish that it can, in fact, attack and kill you.
Prey drive is fundamental to a dog, and there is a genetic basis for it.
Prey drive is something that is very fundamental to a dog. It's what makes a dog a dog. It's a genetic basis.
Unfortunately, however, this website lists the same commonly cited reasons for dog attacks, which include things like training or lack thereof, abuse in the dog's past, and even human behavior. Once again, instead of recognizing that dogs are dangerous because of the way they behave, because of their drives and instincts, and because of the way dogs themselves react to various innocuous human behaviors, the blame for an attack is shifted elsewhere. Somehow, it is external to the very entity that's directly responsible for it. Or, put another way, the dog is the identifiable entity directly responsible for a particular action, in this case, an attack. What's really offensive here is this oft-repeated idea that children are the ones who need to be taught to modify their behavior around dogs, when we should instead simply recognize that dogs are too dangerous to be allowed to go anywhere near children. Particularly in the case of larger dogs and dogs bred for blood sports, and aggressive dogs no matter their size. Even very small dogs will attack adults. That is how stupid and mindlessly aggressive a dog is, that it will attack whatever it sees, including a human that is many times its size.
Okay. You see what I mean? That was 4 minutes and 47 seconds. But that was a pretty good flurry of information in a short period of time. Be sure to subscribe to K9 if you haven't already. And I can't imagine how this hits dog lovers when they first come across a channel like this, because honestly, I believe they're more likely to see a channel like this and listen to multiple videos. They're more likely to do that on a channel like this because there are so many short videos. And they're going to get a lot of insight on a bunch of different things, right? And so this is what I believe is the future. This is the future. This narrative, this talking point. Being a critic of dog culture is the future because we have never done it before. And there's a first time for everything. And we won't flop. We won't flop. We not flopping right now. The dog lovers running scared from true critics. A stupid small mutt. Y'all know y'all been attacked by those dumb small mutts before. They be small as a peanut. I had one try to bite my shoe. It was so small it couldn't even bite my ankle. And they will be 100% aggressive and serious about this attack they launching on you. People, that's a mind-blowing level of, that's a dangerous level of aggression. It's not healthy or smart or nothing. Where a human being, mind you, the creature that feeds these worthless things every time they eat, is like 50 times bigger than this dumb mutt. And they will launch a full-on attack. And as soon as they get a dose of their own medicine, they start squealing and crying and running. Dumb, dysfunctional mutants, period. All the more reason they should be despised, unwanted. And what's with all this aggression against the only entities that feed your stupid behinds? Just get rid of them. Ungrateful mutants. Just get rid of them. How long we been taking care of these raggedy things? Excuse me. Huh? How many years we've been taking care of these worthless mutants? And they still attack. Their attacks on us is going up. It's increasing as time goes on. As their population grows, they're being more vicious to the only creatures that feed them. Creatures like that don't deserve nothing from us but to be driven into complete extinction humanely by the governments. euthanize them. Go ahead and do it however you want. I personally don't care how it's done. But if y'all prefer euthanization, knock yourself out. They just need to be gotten rid of. Now, this was a crazy story. I'm going to give y'all a few more reasons why these things should be banned, despised by all nations, and the governments should work together to exterminate these mutants. Colombia, 3-year-old attacked by dogs. Now the mother wants the dogs put down. And what's crazy was the details of this story. And just to remind these people, the public, how dangerous these mutants are. When they launch an attack, it's not a nip. It's not a bruise. They don't just bump you. And keep in mind, nips, bruises, barely breaking the skin has been the reason why several toys were wiped clean from the shelves. Dogs inflict far more damage than that. The damage they inflict is unbelievable, even for adults. So, and keep in mind, we're talking about 3-year-old. Attacked by this worthless mutt, unprovoked, as always. It's a German Shepherd. They moved into a new house, and their neighbors had a big mutt, and the dog launched an unprovoked attack. Now look at the details of this attack. Pride said, now Pride is the name of the lawyer, said that the Rottweiler closed its jaw around the youngster's head and dragged her by her hair over the property line that separated their residence. So the dog left its territory, attacked a 3-year-old, dragged the 3-year-old back to its territory, and now they're saying nothing is to be done to the dog because the youngster was on the dog's owner's property. Get a load of that. Right? Keeping in mind the video I just played produced by K Nunn. Get a load of that. That information K Nunn just shared is actually relevant to a story that just surfaced. This surfaced yesterday. So this is what the lawyer is fighting for. It's like, what is this? Is ridiculous. Nothing is to be done because it happened. She was dragged onto their property. Had injuries all over her. And it's a 3-year-old. People, ain't this insane? Your young gets mutilated and the adults do nothing? Lunatics. They said it was supposed to be electric fence, keeping the dog within the property. And they said, but somehow the fence, electric fence, did not work. Okay? It gets a little worse. Yeah, that's crazy. Pride said the family is not pursuing any legal action against the dog's owner. Okay? They just want the dogs euthanized. They're not trying to charge the owner. They just want the dogs euthanized. He said, but it was a failure of the government that the dogs had been allowed to remain with the owners, obviously. Lawyer says the animal control spoke to the owner of the dogs and determined that the attack happened on the dog owner's property. Then animal control decided not to take the dogs and informed that the dogs would not be euthanized. Get a load of that. And the lawyer pointed out the attack began on the kid's property, on the youngster's property. and she was dragged by her hair onto the dog owner's property. The evidence that she was dragged, the 3-year-old was dragged, is so clear. She got scalped. Y'all briefly saw that image, right? The dog clamped on her head, so its tooth went inside of her, was in between her scalp and her skull. And when the dog was dragging her, it was basically pulling her by her scalp, not her hair strands. Your meat, man. Sick, gruesome attacks. You out of your mind? It was so gruesome that the scalp just broke. And that what it does, it will break in many areas, and the mutts will grab a different spot. Okay? That's what happens. That's why you see those types of scars on the top of youngsters' heads, and you see them, it's replete with those types of injuries. Right? Yeah, this is crazy. Now the victim said is back home and recovering. The neighbor had not come to see how the victim is doing. It's a 3-year-old. No one who lived at the property had come next door to check on the 3-year-old since it happened. Who does that? You find out your dog just scalped your neighbor's 3-year-old. Go bring the dog back. Don't say nothing to your neighbors. Crazy. Now the 3-year-old don't want to go outside. How many times we heard this story? You listening to something that needs to be gotten rid of, people. I don't know who want to play dumb. How many of y'all want to argue against me? Once I started taking calls, how many of y'all are going to call in to dispute what I'm saying now? Would you call in now? You'd be crazy if you did. We definitely talk about something that need to be removed from the society. Don't play dumb. The 3-year-old lives with her mother, 2 older siblings who are 13 and 17. And even the 13 and 17-year-old is scared of that worthless mutt. They don't even allow her to go out the door no more. So she's being what? She's being terrorized. Scared to go outside because he's already been attacked, and the adults, the police officers, the law did nothing. Oh, little 3-year-old, you just got scalped and mutilated and got chopped all up by that dog next door. Oh, poor baby. That dog is still next door, and we're going to leave it there. Bye-bye. That's what the community did. Hands down. That's what the community. And you telling me that I'm out of line for being critical of dog culture? This is dog culture. Are you crazy? This is a criminal culture. What y'all talking about? We need to spend more time talking about how criminal and disgusting dog culture is, man. Oh boy. I got time off, man. All my energy going to this crusade. Y'all nutters, y'all seen these stories that surfaced recently? Y'all see all these tabs up here? I promise you, I pulled those up in about 5 minutes. I saw one crazy story after another. Some of y'all hit me to this story right here. Crazy, it's all get up. For those who don't know, here recently, they got a hold of some documents. Right? They had to get it through the Freedom of Information Act request. And those records document multiple attacks against Secret Service agents that were not previously reported. Just days after the outlet reported that the president's dog was creating an unsafe environment in the White House, the dog brutally attacked a Secret Service agent at Biden's beach house. There have been 24 reported attacks by that worthless mutt on Secret Service members. It's irrefutable that Biden brought a threat into the White House, a lethal threat. We heard about the breeder in Compton. He died just because the dog bit him in the wrong spot. He could have caught one of these Secret Service members in an artery, the same artery. Biden brought a lethal threat in there in a way that's promoted heavily through adoption. Going out to a raggedy, stinking shelter and getting a raggedy, stinking mutt, grown mutt, and bringing it into home. Biden gave an example of how stupid it is to do that. And if it will attack all of these adults, it would have had a field day had there been youngsters in the White House. The mutt would have preferred to attack them. You would have heard, okay, in the White House, all adults. If it would have been 5% youngsters, let's say 10 and under, over half of the attacks would be against the youngsters. I promise you that. Worthless, wretched, vile, evil mutts get so tired of people speaking highly of these killers, menaces to society. Sick of it. Y'all gonna snap out of this stupor you're in. If this last thing I do, y'all gonna wake up. 24 attacks. Y'all think I could have got away with that? If I were a Secret Service agent and just simply slap with an open hand one Secret Service officer, you know what's gonna happen to me? Y'all give these vile beasts freedoms that you don't give people. You let dogs get away with stuff that we would call people disgusting criminals and immoral, primitive imbeciles if they did the same thing. No more. We're sick of it. Treating these things like they're gods on earth. Beat it. You're worthless mutts, garbage DNA organisms, all just a pile of deformed, dysfunctional nerves and neurons. Garbage mutants. Ain't even worth vomit. Now, an incident report obtained. The dog ran towards direction. Look at this. After being bitten, one of those Secret Service agents lost significant amount of blood. One of them was bitten on an artery. Significant blood. So somebody in the White House bleeding out. Think about that. If I just went around slapping fellow Secret Service agents, you know how quickly they'd hem me up? I'd have all kinds of boots on my neck. Huh? Are you kidding? This dog had Secret Service agents bleeding out. And Biden up there, just commander. But if they don't listen, my political stance is I demand something for my vote. And y'all know, everybody know what I demand. Biden is so dysfunctional. He has a lot of people ready to vote for Trump. People who are not fans of Trump at all, lining up in droves to vote for Trump to get Biden out of office. And this is one of the reasons why. Are you out of your mind? Who would want to work for a president like that? Whose dog that we are being forced to work with and tolerate is attacking people like that? Who would want to quit a job like that? Imagine if you were an anti-dog person, or if you got xenophobia, allergies, or whatever. You wouldn't want to quit a job like that. It's a horrible situation. Biden brought nothing but chaos into the White House. It's probably the worst thing to ever happen inside of the White House. Secret Service agent lost significant blood. The report indicates the agent remained calm and was able to walk away from the scene of the attack to receive help. Report notes that the agent received 6 stitches in the left hand, forearm, and antibiotics. Another document showed the dog attacked an agent on June 15th, resulting in the agent sustaining arm injury that reportedly needed stitches. This is madness. You see what happens? Just a dog being in the White House caused such a scene. Innumerable articles have been written about the chaos, this worthless mutant. And it's just one dog in the White House. Nobody's going to tell me that 80 million dogs ain't completely detrimental for this country. Just as many dogs in this country as there are youngsters 13 and under, maybe more dogs. It's a state of emergency we in. These things are such a nuisance. They're such a menace to society that one of them inside of a White House, where I assume there's hundreds of people, caused complete chaos, and they had to get the dog out of there. And you can imagine there are plenty of people in that White House who are dog lovers. They had to kick it out anyway. Just like a bunch of dog lovers have to euthanize these things every day for aggression and so forth. These things are the worst possible living organisms to be inside of any country, period. Now it's time to roast these little worthless garbage mutants a little bit. I saw this strange article surfaced a few hours ago. See the title? Is North Dakota dog friendly? Studies suggest not. Now this caught my attention because if there's even sort of an anti-dog state somewhere, I want to know about it. But look at this.
Join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter with Good Day Dakota.
6:44 here on your Furry Friday. Welcome back to Good Day Dakota. Tracy and Patrick are back with us from Furry Friends Rock and Rescue. Good morning.
Good morning.
And
what are you doing?
Percy.
Yep, this is Percy.
This is Percy.
Percy is a collie heeler mix. He's very smart, very obedient.
No, it's not. No, it's not smart. Stop it. Right now, it looked like she's trying to play on the fact the dog's looking up at her. All that mutt's looking for food. Know how humans are. Dogs have figured out how humans are. When people show them attention, they know in a little while some treats coming, some food coming from somewhere. That's why they always looking up at you. Not because they like you. Expecting food.
Collie heeler mix. He's very smart, very obedient. He's eager to please.
How? How did that worthless parasitic leech please? What does it do? What could it possibly do for a human? It don't do nothing. We do everything. Already delusional. Already setting up a false narrative. Daydreaming.
He's crate trained. He's potty trained. He's going to make somebody a great addition into their home because he is just a good boy and he loves.
Look, just sniffing her. That's worthless mutant. Y'all, you nutters, they call this good behavior. Oh, look at the good boy. Oh, he's so attentive. No, you're rubbing on it. You show these mutts attention, dogs have figured out that's when the food comes. When you leave and you're not around, you're not paying no attention to them, most likely you ain't feeding them. You ain't giving them no treats or nothing like that. Here, everybody paying attention, so the mutt's just looking for food.
Into their home because he is just a good boy
and
he loves other dogs. Don't know about cats, we haven't cat tested
loves
him.
other dogs, but don't know about cats. So why should we appreciate this thing as a loving creature when you just told us it'll try to rip the cat's throat out? We supposed to give this mutt, worthless, trash mutant credit for being some type of good pet when you just told us the thing will try to kill your cat? Get out of here.
But he loves other dogs.
One day at a time. What do we know about Percy's story?
Percy was on an abandoned farm with 9 other dogs, and only 5 of them lived. And he's one of them that survived.
Wow,
so,
okay. So he's a lucky dog.
He's a very lucky dog. He's in a wonderful foster home.
Sure.
Okay, now this guy in the purple shirt, this is Percy. I'm going to give Percy 100% pass for this. Bless him. He seems like a bubbly, happy, positive spirit. And he is a victim of the nutter culture right here. He's doing what everybody tell him this is what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
He's in a wonderful foster home, and he's just thriving there. So somebody's going to be very lucky to get this boy. Yes.
And so what's happening down at Furry Friends right now?
A lot.
Yes, I know. We actually had talked about it on our KX podcast, The Voice of the People, with Julie and Cameo from Central Dakota the other day. And I know you guys are still very busy down there.
Very, very busy.
Now watch this. I'm going to tell y'all what I think. I don't think she gave this dog any medication before she brought it on this show. She didn't drug it up, and she didn't bring no treats. So there's no way for this dumb mutt to come across like a well-behaved dog. Watch this.
And I know you guys are still very busy down there.
Very, very busy. It's amazing how many dogs there are in need.
Yeah.
And how little, we don't have enough fosters. We are...
Now, what's wrong with this mutt? You see us looking around, now starting to make those noises I told you about, this so annoying. Ain't nothing happening. Ain't nothing moving. I guess that's why it's being bothered. Dumb mutts, they can be all by themselves, and they will start spazzing out. Ain't nothing adorable or admirable about that.
Very busy down there.
Very, very busy. It's amazing how many dogs there are in need.
Yeah.
And how little, we don't have enough fosters. We are doing the best we can. We have a list this long for animals to take in, and one comes out, another one comes in. So it's nonstop.
Yeah.
And it's actually heartbreaking when you see some of the list and the dogs that we have that are in need. And we do.
Why don't that mutt just sit down and be still and shut up? This is annoying. I don't want to be around nothing like this.
Have to triage, take the ones that need medical attention and the ones that...
See, she got to rub it to calm it down. She keep rubbing it, trying to calm it down, get it to sit still.
That are...
I thought it was so well trained. She losing her train of thought. Can't even be consistent in front of the camera because that dumb mutt being a dumb mutt.
The ones that need medical attention and the ones that are healthy are, we have them on the list to take in. So
this dumb dysfunctional mutt, anxiety is starting to increase in this butt because it's on a wood floor, right on a hardwood floor. They're a different environment, scared and mutt shaking and trembling now just because it's in a different room. Nobody want no dysfunctional, goofy mutant like that as no pet.
So how often are you down at Furry Friends?
I do most of the applications for the adoptions and things. I go down there when I can. We have teams that do a little bit of everything. So we have teams that do trapping, help community members whose dogs escape that trap dog and give them back to their owners. We have teams that do...
What is she talking about? What is she talking about? Now I know what she's talking about, but she babbling. And she got this dog that can't be still, crying and whining.
Everything, marketing, game, everything. So it takes an army to make this run, make this rescue run.
And if people can't, or for some reason can't be a foster or adopt, how else can they help Furry Friends right now?
They can come down and walk dogs that we have in our quarantine area, in our shop is what we call it. We always need dog walkers.
That dog is looking for food. Because she didn't give it to it, because had she pulled out treats, it would have stayed right there beside her. I'm telling you, these things only look at these people as sources of food, nothing more. While it was sitting there looking up at her and all that kind of stuff, oh, look at how good of a boy it is. Dog culture critics over here telling you it's just looking for food. She never pulled out a treat, which is what these people usually do when they bring them on these shows. And they're not drugged up. So what did the dog do? start looking elsewhere for food, and it can't find none. It's just picking up foodless odors. Ain't no food nowhere, and that's why it's bugging out. Food obsessed mutant.
Quarantine area in our shop is what we call it. We always need dog walkers to just get them out, get them exercise, get them accumulated to people.
Sure.
'Cause some of them
Get them acclimated to people. Stop with that. They're always around people. They're in the shelter. They're around people all the time, every day. They're around people right now. Don't give me that. They're always trying to make an excuse, throw an excuse out there for when they attack. Oh, it hasn't been around people. Oh, no, shut up. Think of that COVID thing. Like I said, I will keep saying it. Dogs were around people more often than they had ever been during COVID lockdown. Do not tell me that they were isolated away from people. Who was taking care of them then? They should have been more acclimated. Dog attacks should have reduced, should have gone down during the pandemic. Y'all say that dog anxiety, separation anxiety, is caused when you leave the home. I've shown videos where dogs freak out as soon as the people leave. So what are you saying? That it's wrong for you to come back? You come back, it stops spazzing out. It wants to be around you, a person. So what are you talking about? You and your family being in that house during COVID nonstop should have made them more adapted to human beings. But nutters and dog culture, they're built on lies and deception. Okay?
accumulated to people.
Sure.
'Cause some of them, like him, they weren't. So he can be shy
dumb
at
mutt.
first,
Yes,
but
it
once-
was. Shut up. Yeah, dumb mutt. Looking around, I said years ago, they spent a whole bunch of time looking around, squealing, making dumb noises. What's wrong with this thing? Ain't no food nowhere.
He can be shy at first, but once he warms up, he'll latch on and he'll be your person, and he will look for you to tell him what's good and what's not.
Okay.
Now y'all clearly see something wrong with this dumb mutt. And this is a horrible, horrible advertisement for adoption of these worthless mutts. She got up on here and she's in Oregon, North Dakota. They're basically complaining that there's not enough people out there adopting these things and not enough people walking them. You know how pathetic that is? How would you rate that need? How would that benefit society or communities? How would it benefit? Wouldn't society benefit more if they did stuff like this for people? Like their own youth? They're not this concerned about their own youth, only dogs. Making dogs unhealthy for us on a psychological level, on a family level, and everything else. Look at this, how pathetic this is. There's media outlet complaining about North Dakota not having enough dog-friendly establishments, outdoor recreation for these mutts. Are they concerned about an absence of other services, goods and services to benefit people? Their own youth? No way. They're worshiping dogs. It's nothing but dog worship. Dog culture is nothing but dog worship. Anybody who's a religious person, you should be critical of dog culture as well. It's an abomination on this earth. I'll argue that with anybody. Even if you're a religious person and a dog lover, I will argue that to you too. I don't care if you're a Muslim or a Christian. God does not love dogs, didn't create dogs, and God wants to exterminate them. I made several videos. God hates these things. When God hates something, God wants to destroy it and remove it from the universe. These things would be gone by now, if not for people keeping them on this earth. Look at the chaos they cause. It wouldn't have been so had these things not existed. Look at this. Another article surfaced a few hours ago. Dog days return to this Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. Dog days at a zoo. Make sense out of that. For what? What is a mutt coming to a zoo for? Now look at the requirements. They're saying that on March 12th, March 14th, people can bring their dog to the zoo. You'll purchase a dog ticket and a human ticket. And the dog has to be well behaved around a bunch of zoo animals. Think about that. They're not going to share the horror stories coming out of there. No way. Zoo, it has requirements. Look at this. They must be up-to-date vaccinations. Must be on the leash at all times. Pointless. Okay? Dogs or guests with dogs can access most areas of the zoo. Okay? Because what? Because the dogs will become aggressive towards certain animals. You know, some areas of the zoo, there's really nothing separating you from the zoo animals. And if you were a dog, you'd probably be able to run past and over a few obstacles and get to them. So the dog's not allowed in certain areas. Dogs must remain under human control and not behave in an aggressive or disruptive manner. Good luck with that. You know what's going to happen? If some dogs walk through and they're well behaved, they're just drugged up. That's all it is. They drug these mutts up and they bring them into public places, take pictures, record videos, and brag about how well behaved they are. Pathetic. Such a pathetic culture. Oh yes. Excessive agitation of zoo animals or guests because of barking or other behavior may result in you being kicked out without a refund. This opportunity is for dogs and dogs only. No other pets are allowed. Listen to that. How crazy is that? The only pets allowed to come to the zoo are the ones that's most disruptive, the most violent. What are you making laws and rules for that for? It's a dog worshiping society. It needs to stop. This ain't beneficial for nobody, especially zoo animals, who gonna be likely feeling harassed. I've seen these worthless mutts in zoos before. They're worthless. No point in bringing them to no zoo. Ain't no point in owning them, period. Take them to your local shelter and ask them to euthanize this worthless mutant.
Start with this at 11. These images here.
And dog lovers, y'all need to stop playing dumb. Y'all don't like these things either. That's why you need a constant flow of propaganda to guilt shame you. They got to constantly guilt shame you in order for you to go out and try to get these things. Think about that. Animal rescue finding solution for dog dumping in Tampa Bay area. Another story surfaced just a few hours ago. Listen to this nonsense.
Imagine anyone being this heartless, but someone tossed 3 puppies out of a car in Tampa. One was run over and killed.
Somebody what? Tossed 3 puppies out of a car? Listen to how they worded that.
He got 2 survivors here. They're in good just here. It's hard to imagine anyone being this heartless, but someone tossed 3 puppies out of a car in Tampa. One was run over and killed. He got 2 survivors here. They're in good, caring hands now. Sadly, though, the Humane Society of Tampa Bay says it's seeing more dog dumping like this.
Look at him. This thing is trying to sniff looking for food. A parasitic, that's how a parasitic infested creature behaves. In fact, their puppies is even more likely they're full of worms right now, full of parasites right now. So that the sniffing and look around for food is excessive. And notice when they deworm these mutants, they still behave like this because they still full of parasites.
Across the area, and Fox 13's Evan Moon has covered a few of these stories in recent weeks. And Evan, you were telling us, I know one case you had a couple of weeks ago, some roads are even infamous for places where people go and dump dogs.
That's right. Unfortunately, dog dumping happens quite often, especially on those dark country roads. But one rescue group is thinking they might have found a solution to help catch some of these people. These 8-week-old puppies are recovering, waiting for a better home after being tossed from a car onto the side of a Tampa.
What do you mean tossed from a car? How do you know that? They're wording that to make it sound like they threw him out the window while the car was moving. That's why they're phrasing it like that. Because they don't know. They could have just walked the dogs out and left them there. There's no evidence, no footage, nothing that these people threw these mutts out the window.
A road 2 nights ago. One of their siblings was hit by a car. Just last week, a similar situation. We met a mom and her
they gotta run this game on you, guilt shame you. I hope the poor animals, God's creatures, were tossed from the window. Oh, come and adopt them. Get out of here. Beat it.
2 babies who had survived multiple nights after being dumped on a dirt road found extremely emaciated. 4 of her other pups found...
Stop it. Thing probably had went 1 day without eating. Parasitic, infested mutants. They will lose weight after a few minutes. Stop it.
Their rescuer told us then it's too common.
People dump there because it's a very quiet country road and there's no surveillance. Dark country roads.
No surveillance. So how y'all know they was tossed out the car? No surveillance, dark area. How you know they was tossed out the car? You wording it like that. You know what you're doing. Being deceptive.
Target areas for people to just take their animals and dump them.
April McNeely saves many dogs dumped on an infamous road in Waimama. We caught up with her again Friday about these issues.
Okay. Part of dog culture is to dump them. We've been hearing this for years. A part of dog culture is to dump them like the trash mutants they are. Even the people who platform and worship these things, they backtrack. They fall off the nuttery. Like, oh, I can't take it no more. They just get rid of them. That's how horrible they are as pets. Even the people you brainwash to worship them lose it. They snap. The propaganda wears off even on them at times, because dogs are that horrible.
We're trying to make changes with that by trying to get cameras approved to be put up there, trail cams. There are some higher tech that's going to be needed for that, to be able to catch at night.
Look, man, I don't want to constantly scratch no mutt like that.
But April and the Tampa Humane...
Cameras approved to be put up there, trail cams. There are some higher...
Can you imagine how bad that thing's breath stinks right now? But he's got his face all... looking over there for it. She's scratching his mutt face. Stinking mutt breath just going right up in her nostrils. She loving it.
Tech that's going to be needed for that, to be able to catch at night.
But April and the Tampa Humane System...
Look at that. These is like newborn puppies. She's starting early, putting her stupid face right up in the dog's face. And this is how they be getting their face ripped up. Thing full of parasites.
Society say these dumpers should have harsher punishments.
A lot of times people either aren't caught, or when they are, it is a minimal fine or something like that. They absolutely need to be held a lot more accountable.
The penalties for...
okay, y'all are so bent out of shape about people leaving dogs somewhere. Okay, let's go with the best option to put an end to that. If you own one of these worthless mutants, take it to a shelter, okay? And if possible, ask them to euthanize it. And then voila, it's not even possible to leave them abandoned. I'm sick of hearing y'all complain about this all the time. Then try to send people on a guilt trip. Keep them to yourself. You don't want nobody to get fed up with them, because that's what's happening. People bringing them home and they being driven crazy. Dog lovers themselves being driven crazy.
Animal cruelty are not harsh enough. We really, really have to push to try to make these penalties harsher.
In 2019, the Preventing Animal Cruelty and Torture Act was passed into law.
Torture? Leaving a dog abandoned in a secluded area, how is that torture? I can see them say, oh, it'll starve to death. But that's only after it goes a long time with no food. There ain't no direct intent to torture these things. They're just tired of them. Been driven crazy. It's temporary insanity. And they know this is a dog-loving world, and they're not going to spend much time. They're going to get picked up. So stop complaining.
If violated, the penalty can include a fine and a prison term up to 7 years.
Prison term, 7 years for leaving a dog somewhere. So, people, don't it sound like a pet you shouldn't acquire? You want to punish people like that for leaving them somewhere? That means that the dogs themselves are horrible, wretched, despicable creatures. There should not be a problem leaving them somewhere, especially if they're tied up or tethered to something, because all the other animals on the earth are free. We're not calling it torture or abuse when those other animals are free. Ain't nobody feeding them or servicing them. But if a dog is out in the world, just like all other animals, now we're torturing it and being cruel. Get out of it. Beat it. Y'all better off not acquiring these things. The whole point here, message here, stop acquiring these things. Let them stay at whatever shelter they're at and let it keep overflowing. Let them keep euthanizing them. The mutts that don't get adopted, let them rot in those shelters. Stop adopting these trash organisms.
Unfortunately, many bad owners aren't caught. The McNeely Family Rescue is working with local...
Bad, don't call them bad owners. They might have snapped out of it. Maybe they were temporarily insane. You can't call a person like that bad. They're trying to get rid of something that could have potentially been destroying their home, maybe attack a family member. You don't know what these people are going through. Stop making decisions when you don't even know the circumstances of the case. It's so pathetic. They always put these mutts before us, crying and complaining, crying the blues about how harshly they're being treated. Oh, they're mistreated. They're so bad. When all we do is give these things free stuff. Nobody mistreating me. Look at this. Tears, as dog adopted after spending 900 days in a shelter, is returned within hours. I wonder why. Could it be because it was so well behaved? Look at him. Yeah, returned. And this is hilarious. They're desperately, this is guilt shaming. This is how y'all have to promote these things. You got to guilt people into acquiring them. Come on, honey, let's do the right thing. We've been sinful for so long. Let's do something nice. Guilt shame people. That's pathetic. Now look at this. They got to go through so much propaganda and lying. So much deception is involved. Why? For a pet that y'all say everybody is in love with? That's not what it sounds like. Mutt was in the shelter for 900 days. Somebody finally came and got it. And not even an hour later, according to them, the mutt brought it back. Okay? They recorded the moment when the people brought the dog back and uploaded it to TikTok. Oh, he's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. Look at this. Being in a shelter for many years affects the mental health of dogs. How? How? I don't believe that. I mean, it might. I mean, if it does, it's only because their movement is restricted. But they're around a bunch of other dogs, just like they would be out in the free world. When they're out in the free world, they look for other dogs and they form large packs. There's always barking and squealing and noises. So don't tell me the constant sounds drive them crazy. They're the ones making the sounds. What you talking about? But look at this rhetoric, how they're guilt shaming the public for not what they call giving the dog a chance to settle in. This development was a source of some frustration who felt the dog's adopters should have given the dog more time to settle before making their decision. Well, if the dog wasn't such an annoying, problematic, dysfunctional mutant, she wouldn't have brought it back. Being in a shelter for many years affects the mental health of our dogs, and it is no different for this dog. This dog did not get enough time to decompress in her new home. Huh? So, when they brought this deranged mutt home, it started shaking, moving, trembling, probably barking, lunging at people, attacking, acting like the deranged mutant that it is, because it's a mutant. Inbred, worthless, trashy mutant. By the way, they say that this is a Staffordshire Terrier, one of those mutants that was created by heavy inbreeding. You can see it on the worthless mutt's face. Look at the face of this mutant. You can tell something's wrong with its brain. Okay? Brain dysfunction, it will ultimately show in the expression on your face and in your face, period. Look at this thing. It was introduced to new family members too quickly. It deserves that much special treatment. Why? Because it's so deranged and deformed. That's why. Nobody want to cater to these things' dysfunction. Scared to walk on grass, so I'm supposed to slow walk it and coach it. Try to lure it over the grass with a piece of, get out of here. You get rid of the deformed doofus thing. And that's what even dog lovers doing. That is hilarious to me. Oh my goodness, these people need to stop. I mean, these mutts don't love you anyway. And these people know that. This article resurfaced. I think it resurfaced. I feel like I read this before. But I think it resurfaced. If I have, bear with me. It's worth mentioning again. Where they did a study and found out that your dog could take or leave your face. They did a study and found that the dog's brain activity remains exactly the same, no matter if it is looking at your face or the back of your head. Whereas when people look at another person's face, certain brain areas become active. Okay? For good reason. Faces are central to human visual communication. And human brains are also specialized for faces. Okay? The dog feels nothing for you. It just views you as a food source. Nothing more. If they were so human-like, they would at least be able to identify your face and feel a different way about your face than it feels about the back of your head. Because what they're saying is, looking at the face of their owner is no different from looking at the back of the head of a stranger. The back of a head is the back of a head. There's no link, there's no bond, nothing like that. It just views you as a food dispenser, nothing more. They're actually an insult to you. They are, dog lovers act like dogs look at them as special and all this kind of stuff and treat them like, no, they treat you like a subhuman. They view you as nothing more than a food dispenser. How y'all make a way to celebrate that is beyond me. Dogs take note of our, this is pathetic stuff right here. Excuse me. Completely pathetic. Y'all should be ashamed. Everybody in dog culture should be ashamed. And especially y'all better stop putting stuff like this out. Okay? Y'all need to stop this. Children practice literary skills by reading to dogs at library event. Okay? This needs to stop right now. They're actually pushing this to the point where teachers, professionals, putting a stamp of approval on these things, as if they seriously help youngsters to read. No, they don't. Youngsters know that the dog don't understand nothing that they're saying. And you're trying to teach the youngsters to get comfortable reading to themselves, being antisocial. This is not going to benefit, this is not going to help them to fit into the adult human world where you have to communicate with people. This is anti-education. This ain't benefiting them. It's making them dumber and more antisocial. You hear a lot of people talking about how they have social problems, social dysfunctions, anxiety, and different stuff like that. You think this gonna help it? Having them cooped up in a corner somewhere with a dog, not communicating with their peers, especially at a young age like this, is crucial for them to interact with their peers. So shame on all the schools, everybody involved with that goofy nuttery right there, bringing these mutts, talking about they help y'all to read or even keep you company, ease lonely. No, they don't. They don't do nothing but make people nervous, scared, especially with youngsters, stink, covered in excrement and urine and saliva. Beat it. Shout out to everybody. I feel good. Who can join me on this live stream. I will be back very soon as we continue with this crusade.